the Nonprofit Podcast, powered by Donorbox.
Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the sheer amount of donor information you need to keep track of, or struggle to maintain meaningful relationships with your supporters while juggling a million other tasks? Well, we've been there, and today we are diving into something that can transform how your nonprofit operates and connects with donors. Welcome to the Nonprofit Podcast. I'm Jena, Education and Community Engagement Manager here at Donorbox. We are here each week with practical actions you can use today to increase donations and take your nonprofit to the next level tomorrow. Joining me today is our podcast co-host and fundraising strategist here at Donorbox, Britt and Stockert.
Hey, Jena, I am so excited to be joining you today. We're going to be diving into something so exciting. It's this world of nonprofit CRMs. I'm going to be sharing valuable insights and tips to really help all of you streamline your workflows and build better relationships with your donors.
For sure. And I'm especially excited about today's conversation because our very own Donorbox CRM has just launched with some really great functionalities. So speaking of which, let's kick things off by talking about segmentation, which is a functionality of Donorbox CRM. Britt, I know that you are coaching many of our premium clients now, and that segmentation is very often a hot topic, and it's a hot topic in our monthly Donorbox Academy webinars too. So why do you think that segmentation is so crucial for effective donor management?
Absolutely, Jena. Segmentation, it really makes this huge difference for nonprofits. At the last nonprofit I led, we did what most nonprofits do, right? Which is we sent these same messages to everyone, and that didn't cut it. But once we started segmenting our communications, everything changed. You know, you don't have to start big. It can be on a very basic level. You know, that might look like for your major donors who give $1,000 each year. Start sending personalized video messages or sending out exclusive invites to your donor appreciation events. Or hey, if you have monthly donors, really sharing touching short video stories from those that you're serving, offering behind the scenes tours of your operations. I really can say that those personal touches that we really devoted time to, our donors felt appreciated and just so valued.
For sure. I think those are great examples. And you've heard me say this a million times, Britt. If you are talking to everybody, then you are really not talking to anybody.
Oh my goodness. Yes, yes, yes. Those personalized messages for different segments, you will see a noticeable increase in your response rates. You know, you're going to start to really feel like you're having those one-on-one conversations rather than shouting out into the void.
Yeah, personalization really matters. It makes it easier for you to connect with your donors and makes your donors feel more valued. And we talk about why it's so important, but how do you accomplish this, right? Segmentation can be complicated without the right tools. And that's why Donorbox CRM's groups feature enables you to create tailored segments so effortlessly. It makes a huge difference in engagement and makes it so easy to track all the different segments that you have within your donor base.
You really can take your donor segmentation to the next level on a very granular level. And, you know, let me give you an example about my time working at Babies of Homelessness. What we really did, Jena, was we divided our donors into groups based off of what they cared about the most. We had an amazing group of monthly donors. These were donors that were called the change makers. And, you know, we had 3 programs, but with this group, they were especially interested in our 72-hour direct service program. And this program was focused on families experiencing homelessness. And instead of shouting out into the void and sending them general updates pertaining to all of our programs, we really pared it down and we sent them detailed reports specifically about this segment of those we were serving. These were families, they were living in their cars, they were living in tent cities, and we were really focused in our communications on speaking about the challenges that they faced specifically to that demographic. And so I think focus on what really matters to your donors, devote time into doing that segmentation and really targeting your messages in a way that makes them feel acknowledged and heard.
I think that really highlights how segmentation can lead to more meaningful conversations because you're segmenting them in areas that they care about the most. And I think it also highlights the importance of being proactive rather than being reactive. And having a CRM that helps organize these insights and these segments can empower nonprofits to maintain those relationships more effectively, right? And I think it's also worth mentioning that segmentation isn't just about sending more emails. It's about analyzing the data behind your donors. So, like you said, Britt, looking at patterns and trends, it can really inform your overall fundraising strategy, your communication strategy, and you can identify which segments are more likely to convert to larger donors or which ones might be ripe for a specific campaign, right? So I think that it serves a lot of purposes beyond just sending emails, but really helping you strategize in your overall fundraising. Okay, I want to talk about centralized communications as well. I know from my personal experience that keeping track of donor communications can be a nightmare, especially when you're juggling multiple channels of communication. I remember specifically at one nonprofit that I was working at, we had emails scattered everywhere between staff, some in personal accounts, some in shared folders. It was so easy to lose track of who had been contacted and when and by who. And there were times too where I'd send a follow-up email about an in-kind donation or something like that, only to find out that a colleague had already reached out to that same donor about the same thing. And this not only confused our internal team, but it also just was not a good look to our valuable supporters, right? It's kind of embarrassing. And I think that many organizations can relate to that. It's a big challenge.
Oh my goodness, I have similar stories, Jena, but I think you really hit it home, right? It drives how important it is. We all need a centralized communication system where we can see all of our donor interactions in one place and just stay on top of these things and avoid those headaches and avoid all of those mix-ups.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where a centralized hub like Donorbox's Mail Center within the Donorbox CRM really comes into play. I think that this feature is such a game changer for organizations who are trying to maintain those important relationships while handling all these other different types of responsibilities and communications. With everything all in one place, you can manage communications more efficiently and ensure that nothing slips through the cracks. And the ability to see all interactions with a donor at a glance is just so invaluable. It shows you how you can approach each conversation with confidence, but with context as well, right? And the Mail Center doesn't just centralize emails, it also kind of provides a comprehensive view of your history with each donor. Imagine being able to quickly reference past interactions and notes right before you make a call or send another email. And this context is so crucial when you're crafting messages or following up on specific interests, right?
Right. And I think just to reemphasize, one of the main highlights of this amazing Mail Center is the ability to connect everything you need in the same platform, right? I was a former executive director, a development director. I used to waste so much time switching, toggling between so many different email platforms. I cannot stress how efficient, how amazing the Mail Center is because everything is in one place.
Yeah, absolutely. It is such a huge time saver. And I think that one thing that most nonprofit workers need more of is time, right? I also want to talk about supporter timelines. For our listeners who might not be familiar with a supporter timeline, it's essentially just a chronological record of all interactions and engagements a supporter has had with your organization. So it provides a detailed view of their journey from their first interaction with your organization to their most recent activity. It's just a nice way to view the way that your donors have interacted with your organization across all time.
Yeah, I think this is huge, Jena. I mean, let's face it, for organizations that Gosh, they span decades long there, or even several years old. Keeping track of thousands of donors' history is impossible, right? Let's be honest. What I love about supporter timelines is it gives a visual diary, and this really helps nonprofits really understand those engagement patterns, those preferences that they need to really build those deeper relationships.
I remember a specific instance where understanding a supporter's timeline made a really huge difference. We had a longtime donor who suddenly stopped contributing to this organization that I was with, and we were kind of just a little confused by it, right? But we were able to look at their engagement history, and we realized that they had been very involved in a particular program that we had just recently closed. And this really allowed us to reach out with information to this donor about a new similar initiative, which re-engaged them and brought them back as an active supporter. Had we not had this view, maybe we would have I hope we wouldn't have forgotten about them, but we could have very easily forgotten about them or not been able to re-engage them in a way that felt meaningful for them. So that was a big deal for us.
And I think it goes beyond, Jena, re-engaging donors. Supporter timelines, it also helps us recognize and celebrate milestones, right? Whether it's their 5th donation or an anniversary, supporter timelines, it really allows us to acknowledge those very meaningful moments. And it's all about deepening those bonds, those relationships to encourage that long-term support.
Yeah. And again, it's about being proactive, not reactive. Having a CRM that provides these timelines really just enables you to better monitor and anticipate your donors' needs and preferences. And like you said, keep them connected.
Right. It's all about those insights. They help us create more effective fundraising campaigns. We understand our donors' behaviors and interests. And we're able, again, to create those targeted appeals that really hit on a deeper level.
Now, before we wrap up, I would love for you to share some best practices and quick tips for our listeners. As we're talking all about CRMs, maybe our listeners are using a CRM now. Maybe they're looking to make a switch. Maybe they're looking to move out of their spreadsheets and start using a CRM for the very first time. So let's say 3. What are 3 key takeaways that can help nonprofits make the most out of their CRM?
Yes, let's keep it to the power of 3. Well, number 1, regularly update your data. Keep your data fresh, keep it accurate. That really means updating all of the granular contact details, all of the engagement activities. You really want to have that gold standard type of data in the first place from the get-go. That's going to really allow you to tap into being able to segment your donors and create those meaningful communications that we talked about. Number 2, personalize your outreach. Devote all the time you need to make the most out of your CRM's segmentation and supporter timeline features to really develop those meaningful, personalized messages. You're going to want to get to know all of your donors' preferences, their past interactions, their milestones, to develop messages that really resonate with them. Take all the time you need to really make your outreach feel personal and relevant so that donors really feel heard. And number 3, I am all about doing the data analysis. What trends and insights are you seeing? You might find that, hey, your donors that are signed up to your quarterly newsletter, they tend to give more often. I cannot stress enough, keep up doing that data analysis because you're going to want to be open. You're going to want to flex. You're going to want to pivot. And again, really step up the communications that you're delivering in a way that really aligns with these trends that you're seeing.
And I'll say too, with the right CRM, it will do the work for you with keeping your data up to date, right? So setting up your systems that you're using now will really inform how your CRM works for you later. And that's the whole point, saving you time. So those are fantastic tips. Thank you so much for this conversation today.
As always, Jena, it was such a pleasure.
And remember, the goal is to build lasting relationships with your supporters. We've said that so much during this episode. And the right CRM tools can help you do just that by providing the insights and capabilities needed to connect with your donors on a deeper level. So whether you're new to CRMs or looking to switch to a powerful all-in-one solution, Donorbox CRM offers comprehensive features to help you forge those strong relationships and empower your missions. At Donorbox, we are always innovating to produce exceptional tools designed for organizations of all sizes. So there is always more to come. And you can learn more about Donorbox CRM and sign up today using the link that we have included in the show notes. Thank you for joining us on the Nonprofit Podcast. I hope you've left with the confidence to take a small step today that will make a big difference tomorrow. Be sure to click the download button on your podcast player, then leave the Nonprofit Podcast a review or give it a thumbs up if you're listening to the Nonprofit Podcast on YouTube. Your review is a great way to help others find us. You're here to help others. We're here to help you. Until next time, stay inspired.
That warm feeling when you help someone, it's not just happiness, it's fulfillment. And we believe it should be available to everyone, from frontline heroes to first-time fundraisers. Our tools empower you to help others. This is our mission. This is Donorbox, helping you help others.